Welcome everyone to our travel across Europe. Today we are at our 7th destination. Yeah, we're slowly approaching the end of our tour, and we are going to go to the farthest northern end of Europe and visit Sweden. Yeah, Sweden is a country located in Northern Europe, and it is a land of breathtaking beauty with stunning natural landscapes and a rich cultural legacy of ancient Vikings. It also has lots of literary traditions, from children's tales to adventure to intense psychological dramas and criminal fiction recently. Swedish authors have a indelible mark in the world of storytelling. It continues to captivate readers all across the world. Today we're going to be looking at its literary traditions and overall its literary work includes works like Holgersson's Wonderful Journey, and the first woman to win the Nobel Prize of Literature was also from Sweden. We also have detective novels of Stieg Larsson and Nordic noir to presented to a global audience from this country. Okay, let us begin. The four books we're going to be looking at today is Dr. Glass, Pippi Longstocking, The Brothers Lionheart, and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Yeah, so these two books, The Brothers Lionheart and Pippi Longstocking, was written by the same author, so I have three authors to present to you today. We have Soderbergh, Lindgren, and Larsson. They were all Swedish novelists, writers and journalists. Larsson is still working as a journalist, I believe, today. Lindgren, I believe, maybe still alive. I am not sure. But these books that I have prepared today are more recent than a lot of the books that we previously looked at. And as much as Sweden has really, really good historical literature, I wanted to kind of look at more modern ones, because I thought maybe looking at the Viking novels from way back might be kind of hard to understand for us students. So yeah, this is what we're going to be looking at. But if you guys want me to, I can definitely make another kind of program looking at the kind of Viking or very old literature from Sweden as well. Yeah, so the first book we're going to be looking at today is Dr. Glass. This was published in 1905, and it is a groundbreaking psychological novel. And it delves into the themes of morality and duty and desire, these same things over and over again that we've seen previously. It is about a physician, Dr. Glass, and a woman named Helga, who confides in him about her abusive marriage, but Dr. Glass ends up becoming entangled in his life with Helga, and yeah, it's as Glass takes kind of drastic actions to free her. The novel explores his inner turmoil and inner ethical dilemmas, kind of capturing the complexity of his emotions, because Soderbergh's very nuanced portrayal of moral ambiguity is revolutionary at the time. It's just the kind of ethical boundaries that the physician feels obliged to feel to keep with the woman, but also his obsession with her and her case. It continues to deal with the idea of human emotions. And a very poignant reflection of this is when Dr. Glass says, "The world is full of people who are burdened by the weight of their own decisions. It seems to me that many have learned to wear the mask of happiness, but I know deep inside that the most honest face is the one marked by pain. I have decided to accept the pain, to live with it, because I know it's what makes me human." This novel is often considered one of the earliest examples of modern psychological fiction, and it has influenced later Scandinavian writers and beyond to write similar kinds of kind of themes and ideas. The second book I have, and I am very, very excited about this book, it's very interesting, is Pippi Longstocking. It is a children's novel. It is one of Sweden's most beloved books, and it was published in 1945 and tells the story of Pippi. P.B. is a unconventional, very adventurous girl who lives alone in her house with a horse and a monkey. And she is very rebellious. She loves imaginations and she loves to escape societal norms, kind of doing new, innovative, and free individual things and just enjoying the joy of childhood at a time when traditional values, because this was the 1940s, were being re-examined after World War II. P.B. became a symbol of resilience and independence that a lot of her readers and the next generation wanted to follow. And as much as this is a children's novel, I think it's a very good book for adults to read as well, because not that the language itself is appropriate for adults, but it's a content that makes you kind of go back to your younger days, kind of look at the simplicity and innocence of youth that a lot of people are missing in our modern day. Yeah, so Pippi Longstocking has become a cultural icon, even in all the way here in the United States, in any other different countries. It continues to embody progressive views on imagination and joy of childhood. And in terms of the impact it has, it continues to, ask about gender roles and the kind of traditional ideas that we had, because, Pippi has two friends, Anika and Tommy, who are amazed by her, who are shocked by her, and Pippi kind of acts like the leader instead of Tommy, who is a man. So these kind of ideas kind of melted into, infused within the novel, kind of did end up innovating a lot of the traditional ideals that were present in Sweden at the time. A quote that I absolutely love and kind of captures Pippi's philosophy in general is, "I have never tried that before, so I think I should definitely be able to do that. And I can do anything I want to. You can't really expect me to be like everyone else, can you? You can't be all clever and think you're the best. I'm just Pippi Longstocking." That is, it just captures Pippi's personality, her youthful joy that a lot of people kind of, I think, want to revisit at some point, because that's the simplicity of life that fundamentally embodies full happiness. Yeah, and by the same author, we have The Brothers Lionheart. This was published in 1973, like 20 years after Pippi Longstocking, and this is a shift away from the kind of playful tone of Pippi Longstocking to a more deeper exploration of courage and loyalty and even the afterlife. The story follows two brothers, Carl and Jonathan, and they are reunited after death in a magical land called Nangijala. They face a kind of dark and dangerous regime led by Tangle, and they must fight loyalty and confront the oppressive regimes that kind of symbolize the struggle against injustice. And so it addresses these heavy themes of morality, fear, sacrifice, and the offering and the giving of hope to each other, and this unwavering bond between the brothers. It is a very, very deep book compared to books like Pippi Longstocking. Yeah, and as the two brothers embark on their heroic journey, they kind of must discover these ideals again for themselves. They must redefine it. It's a very profound exploration, especially of the afterlife as well. Yeah, and the Brothers Lionheart has been celebrated as addressing these issues with great sensitivity. It's become a timeless tale for both children and adults, for modern readers. Yeah, my favorite quote here, it's very reflective and it has a lot of depth to it, but it was a terrible feeling to have to fight for your life, to know that death could come at any time, but I knew even then that it wasn't death that I was afraid of. I was the way we had to fight for it. Against everything we had once believed was good and right. It's the loss of innocence, I suppose, that we all face at some point. Yeah, and this book is very, very deep, and I think it's even more suited for adults than children. Not that it does not suit children, but it's very much for adult writers. Like Little Prince, for example, it kind of deals with very deep themes through a seemingly kind of childish novella. Yeah, and let's go to our last book, Larsen the Dragon, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. this was published after the death of the author in 2005. Yeah, and so it's about this journalist and a brilliant hacker named Slander, and they kind of solve the mystery of a crime. And I think Sweden nowadays is more than anything so famous for its crime literature, and for some reason I think that's very interesting because Sweden is such a calm, and the crime rates there is like surprisingly low. It is just astonishingly low, and maybe that's why they are so good at making criminal like books. That maybe that's why they're so willing to do it, because they kind of just lack that kind of stories in their country, which is a good thing, but. It's really interesting to me that such a calm and such a beautiful, in a country with such beautiful landscape, that the most brilliant writers of criminal fictions continue to come up. Yeah, but these two together, they unravel a decades old mystery involving corruption and abuse and power within a wealthy Swedish family. And it's a Nordic noir because it's like this genre is characterized by a dark, morally complicated narrative that is set against a Scandinavian background. This is a whole different genre that Larsen and people like her have been continuing to create it, right? And Larsen herself, her works is also kind of a beacon on kind of systemic injustices, particularly against violence against women. As a woman herself, she continued to grapple with like these intricate and gripping problems that continue to arise. And The Girl with the Dragon Head, I think, combines social critique with thrilling storytelling, and becomes cemented as a modern classic and a global phenomenon. It is very well known, and I think people all across the country, not only in Sweden, love this book because it is so beautiful. Wait, guys, I just realized that I referred to Larsen as woman. That is not true. I'm so sorry. Larsen was a man. He, as a man, fought for violence against women, and he made all these brilliant criminal justice novels. I apologize for that mistake. Okay, let's move on to additional suggestions for understanding Swedish literature. I found a couple people. These are mostly very, very recent writers. Backman especially, he is a best-selling author known for writings like A Man Called Ove and Britt Mary Was Here. He often talks about community and loneliness and kind of themes that modern writers can really, really resonate with our kind of increasing depression rates and increasing solitude. I think these are books that we continue to, we as a society are kind of requiring right now, like how previous writers that we've seen, they talked about the kind of, for example, Oscar Wilde talked about the kind of pomp in this Victorian era, and in the same way we're kind of looking at the society around us and saying, oh yeah, we're really, really lonely, and we're really, really alone, and even if we're in a community full of people, we can still be lonely. And that's the kind of thing that modern writers have been trying to really talk about these days. We also have Strindberg and Transtomer. Strindberg is best known for Miss Julie, and Transtomer is best known for his works in the Baltics, and he won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 2011. And I think Sweden is one of the countries that has received the most Nobel Prizes in literature, and that's something interesting too. You can kind of think what we can also talk about. What about Swedish literature is so deeply rooted with that is so deeply resonant with our days. Yeah, so Swedish literature is like this, often reflective of the country's kind of values and its connection to nature, but it's also very unique, and it's very good at blending kind of the modern themes that we see into very unique storytelling. And especially with the rise of Nordic noir in the 20th century with writers like Larsen, it's Swedish storytelling has been brought into international attention, and I think continuing these works can really help us to see the depths of Sweden's heritage. Yeah, thank you so much for continuing on this journey with me. I hope you've gained a bit of a bigger appreciation of all these remarkable contributions that these authors have made, and that you're more willing than ever to look into the different literary histories and legacies of all these countries. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.